Welcome to the 6 Miles to Supper podcast. I'm your host, Kayla Cox, and I've lost over 80 pounds with intermittent fasting 6 days a week, eating whatever I wanted at my meals, taking a cheat day every Sunday, and walking 6 miles a day. And I'm here to help you on your weight loss journey. Hey guys, thanks for listening to this podcast. I wanted to let you know about a little experiment I'm running right now. I've set up a SpeakPipe account, which is basically, it's a way for you to leave me a voicemail. So my idea is that I will occasionally take listener questions on this podcast. So if you'd like to participate in this, click the link in the show notes and you can leave me a voicemail. And if it's something that I feel like I can answer, I'll do so on an episode. Thanks for listening. In today's episode, we're going to talk about weight loss plateaus. Now, I would say this is probably the most dangerous part of the weight loss journey because they're frustrating. It is a mental game. Weight loss is a mental game, but the plateau can be especially frustrating because a lot of times what it feels like is that you're doing the same stuff, you're being good, you're being disciplined, and yet the scale is just not showing the progress that you're wanting to see. And you can start to feel really tempted to, change your plan or just to give up, or to try to, break it somehow. You just want to fix the problem. And I've gone through many weight loss plateaus. And so I wanted to share with you my experience on how I deal with them and what I've found just by the process of trial and error. Now, let me first explain what not to do, because this is what I would traditionally do whenever my weight loss would plateau. I would get in this big hurry. I would say, oh, this thing that I'm doing isn't working anymore, so I've got to stop doing that and do something else. Now, this was especially true back in 2015. The scale would be moving down, but I would not be happy because it would, stop moving down, and then I would change everything. And the thing is, when you change your plan, it takes time to get consistent with a new plan. So in essence, what I was doing in 2015 was I was just being really inconsistent with a lot of plans. And so instead, the better tactic I found was to find a plan and then just stick with it and don't quit that plan. That's what I did in 2016. I said, okay, I've got to commit to something here. I've got to stop quitting. I've got to just pick something and do it. And that's exactly what I did. So let me back up a minute and let's talk about the definition of a plateau. Really, I would say a plateau is being stuck at the exact same weight for weeks. How many weeks? I'd say at least 4 or 5. But I know that when you're losing weight, it can seem like the end of the world if a whole week has gone by and you've lost nothing. But hopefully you're tracking your weight, you're keeping track of your 7-day average and you're seeing, okay, weight does fluctuate up and down. It's like a heartbeat, and over time you want to see it trend down. But you know that from week to week, there may be some fluctuation there. But the first thing you can do when you think that you're going through a plateau, now that's a key word, you think you are, because a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll say, I feel like I'm on a plateau. But you need to sit down with your numbers and actually look at them. Hopefully you have a spreadsheet or you have some sort of app that's keeping track of your weight for you, and you can really look at the data. If you do not have data, that's your problem. If you are just trying to go based off your feelings and how you think something's working, but you really don't have any data to look at, then you're really not going to be able to make any informed decisions. So if right now you feel like you're on a plateau, but really you've not been weighing yourself, the first thing to start doing is just start weighing yourself. Track that number for 6 weeks and then see, is it really stuck or is it not? And then once you sit down with your numbers, you can look and you can see, it might just be, and this is the case for a lot of people, that the weight is coming off. It's just really slow. It's a lot slower than what you want it to be. I mean, this is my thing for so long. I wanted to lose 5 pounds a week. But instead what I found was I lost weight at about a pound a week. And especially as I got down towards a normal BMI, it became fractions of a pound a week. So that's the first thing to see. It may feel like you're plateauing, but actually it's just very slow weight loss. And very slow weight loss is actually a good thing. It means that you're doing sustainable things and the weight is coming off. It just meant take a little bit longer than what you would like in the ideal world. But you may look at your numbers and see that no, it's not that it's just slow. It's just not happening at all. Like it's a true plateau. The first thing I would have you look at is your consistency. 9 times out of 10, and this is especially true of me, if I am trying to lose weight and I find that I've, plateaued, the reason is because I have not been consistent. Now, when I say that, I want you to understand that what I mean by that is, I have rules for going off plan, right? So there are certain events or situations where I say, okay, I'm not going to do fasting right now. Usually it's related to family. If there's some sort of event or a lunch or something like that, I'm going to eat. Okay, so I know that if I have a bunch of days like that in a row or several days like that, in a month, my weight loss is probably going to be a bit slower, or maybe I won't lose any weight at all. So what I would find, sure enough, is when I would really look back, I would say, oh, yeah, that was a day where there was like that exception, and there was another day over here, and that happened, and we had people in from out of town, so our schedules were all off that day. And so sure enough, it was a lack of consistently being on plan. But all that being said, maybe you look back and you say, no, my weight has truly plateaued. I'm being super consistent with my plan. It may be that your plan, the one that you're on right now, has taken you as far as it can go. I had no idea when I formed my plan, how low will this take me? Will I be able to lose all the way down to a normal BMI? I didn't know. I had to just experiment. And sure enough, for me, eating one meal a day, eating whatever I wanted at that meal, and walking 6 miles a day, and then taking my cheat day on Sunday, that got me all the way down to a normal BMI, well into the normal BMI, as it turned out. But it might be that your plan doesn't get you all the way to where you want to be. And if you find that that's the case, you have options. If you get to the point and, you're on a plan and the plan feels good, and you kind of feel like, this is all I'm willing to do at this point, it's okay. You can just say, I'm going to maintain here for a while I figure out what I'm going to do. I'm just going to be on this plateau. Because that's the thing about a plateau. It's really good practice for maintenance, because maintenance is for the rest of your life. It's about staying in a good weight range. So, when you're on the plateau, just know that this is like a little foretaste of what maintenance is like. Now, let me tell you about one of my plateau stories. So, I had been practicing intermittent fasting really consistently beginning in January 2016. I had gotten on a plan, okay, I'm doing this. I was doing great. I was losing about 1 pound a week. And then I got to around the end of March, and the stomach bug went through my house. I didn't get sick, but I was really nervous, couldn't eat. And so I ended up eating one meal a day. That's how I stumbled upon OMAD, And so when I did that, my weight dropped. It was something like a 5 pound drop or so, maybe even 6 pounds within like a week. And I was like, whoa, this is amazing. Can I just always eat one meal a day? And so I did that. I realized, this is something people do. And then, what happened? My weight plateaued for weeks. Like, I thought, okay, once I start eating one meal a day consistently, then the weight's I'm gonna be dropping 5 pounds a week. But no, what actually happened was a plateau. And in that moment, when my weight was stuck, I really kind of had this moment where I almost quit. I almost thought, oh, I'm gonna have to be even, more restrictive or something, because if one meal a day isn't helping me lose weight, then, what's the next step? So, but I didn't change. I just had it in my mind. I thought, I really feel like I can do this. Like, I really feel like if I'm just patient with this, the weight will eventually start coming off again. And so that's what I did. I stayed really consistent with it. And sure enough, the pounds started to come off again. I really do think that, sometimes your body just does that. It kind of especially if you have a big drop in weight, if you just kind of drop a good chunk of weight kind of quickly, your body kind of says, whoa, wait a minute, we don't want to lose weight too quickly. And so sometimes you just have to wait out that plateau. So I just want to encourage you, that sometimes it may seem like your plan really isn't working, but really you just need to give it a bit more time. Just stay calm, but do your best to just stay positive and say, okay, this is a little plateau, but I'm just going to be really patient with it. I'm going to stick with my plan. I'm going to focus on being consistent, and then eventually it will break. And remember, if you truly do find that, this plan has taken you as far as it will take you, remember to think in small tweaks, like for example, like right now, if you're on a 16/8 and you're loving it, but it has taken you as far as it will go, I would offer that instead of, trying to make the fasting window a lot longer or something like that, you might just look at a small thing. Like if you're having snacks during that time, maybe just cut out the snacks, just small tweaks like that instead of trying to overhaul things and say, oh, I've got to eat, OMAD, or I got to do alternate day fasting, something like that. Just, make a small tweak each time. So I hope you found this episode helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.
Do you want to lose the weight without getting rid of the foods you love and that you know you'll go back to eating again anyway? My book, The Laid Back Guide to Intermittent Fasting, teaches you how to practice intermittent fasting so that you lose the weight sustainably and keep it off for good. You can get the audiobook read by me for free when you sign up for your 30-day trial of Audible. The link is in the show notes.